This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our friends over at Ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. You know Ease.com is the place to go for all your legal Golden State cannabis delivery needs and is where you know you're always on the right side of California marijuana law. And don't forget, Ease.com/blog is the site for all of Ease's helpful bits of industry insight and analysis. One of their more recent articles is a great look at how cannabis taxes work in California and nicely answers the question of why medical marijuana patients are paying taxes on their medicine in the first place. Pop over one last time to ease.com/blog to check that out, with Ease spelled E-A-Z-E. And as always, ease.com is where you can order top quality legal cannabis products for delivery within California, assuming you live in a place where it's allowed and where Ease is active. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, April 11th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 466 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We start off the day up in my corner of the country here in Maine, where the state house voted 112 to 34 yesterday in favor of a bill setting up a system for legal adult use marijuana sales. This long-running storyline, set in motion by 2016's successful legalization ballot measure, saw a legislative committee work throughout last year on a comprehensive proposal, only to see it shot down by Maine's obstructionist Governor Paul LePage. After Governor LePage was able to scuttle the plans developed last year, legislators returned to the drawing board when this year's legislative session started, and yesterday the new plan was not only approved, but at a veto-proof margin, which is important because Governor LePage is still Governor LePage. You can swing over to Maine Public for all the details on some of the proposed plans, but some of the highlights include the elimination entirely of cannabis social clubs, the addition of an excise tax that raises the effective retail tax paid by consumers to 20%, and the reduction in the number of plants allowed under home grow from 6 to 3 per person. Also eliminated is a provision that would have shared marijuana tax revenue collected by the state with towns and municipalities that allow for cannabis businesses to open. Click over for the full read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Jumping out west to Utah, we have news that the Mormon Church of Latter-day Saints has officially come out against the medical marijuana ballot initiative set to go before voters in the fall. Given how conservative the church is about everything, this one shouldn't be too surprising, though it is disappointing that the church couldn't get past the politics of cannabis enough to see the value of its medicinal benefits. The church joins Utah Governor Gary Herbert in opposing the measure, a limited initiative that would allow qualifying patients to use certain non-smokable forms of cannabis that would be made available through state-run dispensaries. Mormons make up just over 60% of the population of Utah, so the official position of their church goes a long way in influencing things. We'll definitely keep an eye on this one. Our final top story of the day is a pickup by Civilized on an earlier interview with Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper with Rolling Stone magazine, in which the Mile High gubernator reveals that U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions told him that if it were up to him, he'd raid every U.S. marijuana dispensary, medical or otherwise, but that he's unable to due to a lack of resources. Instead, the Attorney General's plan is to bluster and posture like he's going to crack down in the hopes that industry participants are cowed by his boisterous antics. More specifically, Hickenlooper said, quote, "He just wants people to be very uncertain about that and unsure about what the next step would be from the federal government, which is sort of what's happening now with trade, right? With the tariff wars, but it creates this uncertainty which is bad for business. And that's what Attorney General Sessions wants to do in marijuana. He wants to have that uncertainty which he hopes will be bad for business. Just make people think twice before they expand their operation or make additional investments." Unquote. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Ease.com, California's top one-stop website for legal marijuana delivery. Ease is a great place to get your legal Golden State cannabis delivery because they're such sticklers for following all the right rules and regulations and just as strict about their partner dispensaries doing the same. That kind of laser focus on quality control and compliance results in top quality product at great prices. You don't have to take my word for it though. You can just open up ease.com, and if you're lucky enough to live in a part of California where they're active, check out what's available yourself. And if you don't live where Ease service is available, and really even if you do, make sure to open up ease.com/blog for all sorts of useful and valuable bits of legal cannabis industry insight and analysis. That's ease.com, spelled EAZE, and ease.com/blog. All right, time for the Blitz. California marijuana regulators have started to remind legal cannabis companies that the licenses they were issued at the beginning of the year are only temporary and will soon start to expire. The temporary system is meant to allow companies time to seek more permanent licensing as California works to enact the new system set up by Proposition 64. You can click over to Marijuana Business Daily to read more and for a link to California's official cannabis portal. Sticking to the West Coast for a headline, we have the Sacramento Bee with a good story looking at the shift taking place in California over where most of the state's cannabis is produced. As their headline nicely puts it, quote, "Forget the Emerald Triangle, the Central Coast is becoming California's weed hotspot," unquote. The mountainous region of Humboldt County and the rest of the Emerald Triangle were valued in pre-legalization days for the hidden nooks and crannies that made it possible to grow for the illicit market. Now that the industry is legal and professionalizing, it makes sense that larger cultivations would start to migrate towards parts of the state where it's easier and more cost-effective to grow. As with nearly all stories about California's industry, this one is also worth a dive in. New rules and regulations for medical marijuana testing, tracking, and labeling went into effect in Montana yesterday as a result of a 2016 comprehensive piece of legislation calling for more government oversight. The new rules, which will be rolled out gradually over this year, require seed-to-sale tracking, more stringent testing requirements, and perhaps most interestingly, a provision allowing registered Montana patients to consume cannabis within dispensaries. A lot of the exact regulations to be imposed are still being worked out, so we'll keep this one on our to-watch list. My buddy Chris Crane, who in full disclosure is a regular and co-host of our weekly podcast Marijuana Today, wrote a good guest piece over at Forbes looking at the huge stride Massachusetts is taking in rolling out its legal adult use marijuana program. One more disclosure on this one, as our friend Shalene Title, an on-hiatus regular on Marijuana Today, is one of the 5 members of the Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commission, and the person who I mainly credit for how progressive and generally awesome the Massachusetts adult use plan is. This is definitely one you want to read in full and to learn from. Mary Jane has a fun story up about a man who set off on his bike back in 2015 with the goal to go really far while getting high all the while. Roger Boyd's main mission on his epic bike adventure, now totaling over 19,000 miles throughout Europe, Australia, and New Zealand, was to show that it's entirely possible to do big things while also smoking pot all the time, or in Mr. Boyd's case, vaporizing it. Click over to read this one and to check out the awesome video showing some of the places Mr. Boyd got to vape during his journey. Leafly looks at the current case of cannabis delivery services in Las Vegas, Nevada, operating fraudulently. Their story highlights a number of marijuana delivery services in the Silver State, which purport to be from registered dispensaries, even as they operate independently and illegally, without any of the quality control that comes with state compliance. Nevada has had legal adult use marijuana since last summer and allows for legal licensed delivery, but is seeing an increased number of illegal services pop up. Our final story of the day is by our buddy Tom Angel over at Marijuana Moment, who picked up on a new report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture finding that federal law enforcement officers operating within the National Forest Service don't always clean up after they bust illicit marijuana cultivation sites out in natural settings. The report reads, quote, "As a result, trash and chemicals such as pesticides and fertilizers are still present on these grow sites, thereby putting the public, wildlife, and environment at risk of contamination," unquote. As Tom's reporting, the Department of Ag's report moved the National Forest Service to say they would do a better job of tracking and cleaning up cannabis cultivation sites. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJ Today Daily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Ease, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says, Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.